Hey guys, and welcome to the first in this new series that I'm starting called Gunpla Quick-Fix. If you've been watching my channel for the last month or so, 2 months maybe, I've been talking about doing this new series where basically it's going to be like really short, kind of, it's not exactly short, but simple little basic tutorials that are specific to a certain kit. So as you can see, for this first video, we're going to be starting off with the wildly popular HG Barbatos Gundam, 1144 scale Barbatos. This one is actually from the long range booster, but it's exactly the same as the regular original one. Now what I'm going to be going over in this video is just hand painting in some of the details instead of the stickers. So if you guys have this kit or if you've seen anything about it, you know the stickers in this kit are pretty awful. And just in general, you should try to paint instead of using stickers anyway. So I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of how I'm going to go about just doing hand painting some of those details in instead of using the stickers. Of course, there's many ways to do things. I'm by no means any sort of expert, but I think this is just a simple thing that you can do to help improve the look of your kit. I'm not going to paint the entire kit at this time, but the techniques that I'm going to do in this video can be applied to just the bare plastic like I'm going to do at this point, or you can do it to a painted kit. It really doesn't matter what I'm going to be showing you guys today. So here you can see this is just what the kit is going to look like just out of the box without any painting or stickers or anything on it. What we're going to be painting is the power symbols in red on the shoulder, chest, and knees. Some of the details here, this black part, some of the inner frame details, I'll show you just a little bit about painting those. Painting the face, and then just doing some pen aligning on it as well. So it's basically just going to be like really simple steps just to make your kit look better. So this video, as with most of the videos in this series, I think is going to be pretty much targeted for beginners. So if you guys have a lot of experience or something, it's not really going to be too really deep information. But yeah, like I said, just mostly focused on the beginners out there. So let's get into it and talk about some of these supplies you're going to need. So the first thing for doing the pen aligning, I'm going to be using Tamiya Pen Align accent color, black and gray. I'm going to use a little bit of both of those. Gray on the white parts and then black on the colored parts. You can also use brown and any other color that you want, and you can also use many other different kinds of things. Then for the paints, I'm going to be using some Tamiya enamels. Again, if you guys have been watching my channel for a long time, you know I like using these for detail painting. So these ones that I've got here are X28 part green, X7 red, XF3 flat yellow, XF1 flat black, and X11 chrome silver. We're going to be using this for some of those inner frame details. Then we're also going to need some enamel thinner. Again, I'm just using Tamiya enamel thinner X20 just because I have easy access to it here. So that is going to be for cleaning up as well as just cleaning the brush. There's different ways, again, that you can go about cleaning up your actual brushwork on the kit. Instead of using just thinner, actually thinner on the bare plastic is really not like the best thing to use. I'm going to be using it pretty sparingly though, so I think it's probably going to be okay. But again, you just want to be careful with that, as this is going to weaken your plastic a little bit if you're not too careful with that. So just be careful. Then we're going to use a brush. Again, this is a very small brush. It was 0.9 millimeter, and I've actually cut the bristles down, so it's now actually probably like 0.5 millimeter. You maybe don't need this quite this small for what we're going to be doing today. I do have a couple different sizes, but this is just the one that I usually like to use. It's pretty well all-purpose, so let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I want to do is just work on this shoulder piece here, painting the red parts. So we're going to take just the red. Now the sticker is kind of metallic red. I'm just going to use just regular red. And you can use pretty much actually whatever color you want. I actually wouldn't even want to paint this red personally myself, but we're just going to use red just for the sake of demonstration, as that's the color it's supposed to be. Do want to make sure you give the paint a really good shake first. Now again, because we are painting such a small area, I'm not going to bother thinning this paint. You normally would want to thin paint pretty much always, but in this case it's not really going to be all that necessary because just this area is so small. So basically what I want to do is just go ahead and just paint this in, and if it's going a little bit outside the lines, it's going to be perfectly fine because that's what we're going to clean up afterwards. So just going to fill this in. So there, as you can see, I made a pretty good mess of that, but that's going to be just fine. No problem at all, and plus it's kind of hard doing this while wrapped around a camera, but there we go, you can see just the general idea. I'm going to let this dry a little bit while painting on the other ones, and then we'll come back. Okay, so those are all done, and just a couple of things that I thought of as I was doing that I should have mentioned to you guys. Number one, if you are doing this on something that's already totally painted, you will want to be a little bit more careful with your painting, just because as you're removing any excess paint, it's going to be hard not to change the color tone of your paint. So like, for example, removing this would still add a little bit of red color tone just around that area probably. So just kind of something to be aware of that can happen if you're doing this on a painted kit. Another thing is that you might be saying, what's the difference of just doing this or just using a Gundam marker? Well, it's just better to be in the habit of painting, I think, just by hand. So even if you do have a Gundam marker, what I would do is I would recommend you to empty the paint out of the marker by just pressing the marker down into some sort of cup or tray, and then just using a small brush and basically just doing exactly as I'm doing. So while we're waiting for those red parts to dry a little bit more, let's work a little bit on the face. Now, the first thing I need to do is get the face part out of there. There we go. That's better. And before I do the painting on here, what sometimes is helpful is to do panel lining first, because then that sort of serves as like an outline for when you're painting. Then when you're painting, you just basically just filling in the lines between your panel lines. So what I'm going to do is just use some black wash on this. Now I said we're going to use the gray wash on white parts, but just for the face I'm going to use a black accent wash. So let me just shake this up really well first and open that up very tight for some reason, and just put a little wash here on the face, just like so. And as you can see, it's obviously pretty messy. We're just going to clean that up with a Q-tip here in a moment. At the same time, while we're waiting for that to dry, I guess we might as well just drop some panel line wash here in the V-fin as well. A lot of this is basically going to be paint and wait and paint and wait, because enamel doesn't dry that quickly. Now let me go ahead, get some thinner just from the cap on my Q-tip here, and might even get some of that excess off on a paper towel, and just clean this up. There we go, there's our V-fin. And for the face, really only worried about cleaning up the white part as best as I can. And there we go, that's what's going to serve as an outline for us to do the rest of our painting now. This is probably going to be easy if I remove those other parts of the faceplate and have just this part here. I didn't mention this color before, but I am also now going to use X10 gunmetal. I figure that's probably a little bit closer to the color of the plastic instead of just using black or something. So I'm just going to carefully paint these really small parts of the face that are supposed to be in like the gray frame color. So there's that part done there. Then next, there's a couple different ways to paint eyes, and there's, I mean, depending on sort of what I'm doing, I guess I may have a couple different ways of going about that. I think what I'm going to do this time though is just paint the black around the eye, and then paint in the eyes last. Usually the best way to do eyes is doing a reverse wash, and we'll cover that in a different video later. I think I've even possibly maybe showed that before. Otherwise, a lot of people have showed that on the internet. So if you want to know about how to do a reverse wash for painting eyes, there's plenty of ways to find that out online. So I'm just going to take a little black now, and I'm really only going to focus on filling in like the big main areas, because then what I can do is then go back and put in more black Penoline accent wash. That'll fill in any other little small areas that I missed. So I don't want to get paint on the white eye part, so I don't want to get too close to that. At the moment, I'll get as close as I can here. I can get pretty close, but just something like that. When I'm close enough, then I'll give that a few minutes just to dry, then drop some more Penoline accent wash in there, and that will fill in the rest of that black part. Then we can paint the eyes. Now I don't have the exact color of bright green that I want for the eyes, but what I do have is part green, which is a little bit dull, sadly, and flat yellow. Now just mixing these two a little bit will give me a brighter green color. Now what I'm going to use is just a toothpick. I don't need a lot, of course, since I'm really only painting such a really small area. So just using a post-it here as a sort of palette, just to keep my cutting mat here a little bit cleaner. I did shake these up before starting this video, so this one, again, I only need a little bit of yellow. I don't want it to be too yellow, but just a drop or something like that should be fine. And that'll give me a brighter green color to work with. So let's just go ahead and paint this, again, carefully. And there we go. You can see messed up just a little bit there on the side, but that'll be easy to just, again, just go in there with some either accent color or black. Just touch that up quickly, but that will be that for the face. So here we go. When that's all said and done, I did add a little bit of gray Penoline accent wash on the white parts there. And you can see the face is going to look much better now with those green eyes and the gray detail there painted on the face. Now for cleaning up this red bits, what I'm going to do first is just show you, I've got some thinner here on a Q-tip, and what I'm basically going to do is just rub this away gently, and I don't want to rub too much that I'm rubbing into the gap, because it is a kind of large gap, so this Q-tip will take it out of areas where I want to keep paint. So just doing like this, gently and slowly, and you'll notice it's making quite a mess on there, but just like smearing a lot of paint. We're getting a nice fine line there, but it is smearing a lot of paint on the white part of the plastic. That's fine. We can go over this again and clean that up more. It's just part of the process there. Again, the more precise you are with your first time painting, then the less cleanup you're going to have to do. But as you can see, we will have to do a little bit more cleanup, but everything else, the actual lining looks fine. There we go, that's better. Now you can see you have a nice fine line there, everything's cleaned up nice and well. Now what I want to show you next might be a little bit controversial, and hopefully I don't get a whole lot of backlash for this. from some of the more experienced modelers who would probably say that I shouldn't recommend this. And I don't recommend this, but this is one kind of way to cheat a little bit. If you are doing this on just the plastic itself, obviously no paint underneath, this is one way to sort of help to clean up this extra around the edge, is using your knife and very gently just scraping this on the edge of your line there. And what this is going to do is just to help clean up that edge. Now of course you are going to be scoring the plastic a little bit, so that's why you do want to be really gentle, or you're going to see like all these big scrape marks on your piece. And then after doing this, of course, you're not really going to be able to sand because you have paint on there, but spraying some top coat will help to hide the uneven finish, because the parts that you've kind of scored a little bit are going to be a little bit duller finish because you're scoring away some of the plastic. So just an example, this side that's done, this side that's not done. So as you can see, it works. It's not really recommended. It's kind of a cheap and lazy way to do it, but in a pinch and under the right circumstances like this, where I'm not working with a fully painted kit, just something simple, it's gonna work fine. So there's my shoulder armors, and what I'm going to do now is go around and just do the same thing there for other parts that I have painted on the chest as well. And I'm going to start doing just some of the panel lining. And let me just skip ahead a little bit and then we'll get back to this. Alright, so here is one of the legs. I've got the red marking there on the knee cleaned up. And I've gone ahead and just done some panel lining here in gray, black on the yellow part, but everything else is just in gray. Now I just want to show you one other cool thing that we can do here with these small little details. Now I'll take this small little raised detail here. What we can do is just paint that, and it doesn't have to be red, but I'm just going to paint it red this time. Is you see a lot of details like this that modelers will add to kits custom, but some kits have it kind of built in that you can just add it yourself just by painting. So just paint that small little detail there on the side in red. Looks like I may have to clean that up a little bit, but you can at least get the idea there. Okay, so I'm just about done here, and there's a lot of details on the inner frame that you could paint in whatever colors that you want, but just as a demonstration I want to just paint just a little bit of the inner frame. So all I'm going to do is just paint this little section here in the middle of the elbow, and I'm going to paint this in, what was this, chrome silver. I'm not really a big fan of using metallics, chrome or silver, much these days on the inner frames of kits, but just for demonstration's sake I will just put some in here. And there you go. So just a little detailing there. Of course you could also just paint all of these little pipes, front of the arm, back of the arm, back of the legs, a bunch of places. Those would look good painted. But for the moment, at least you guys get the idea about that. So here we can see what this is going to look like compared to what the kit looks like with just the stickers. This is the one here with only stickers on there, and this is the one that we've just finished painting. I did also paint the yellow bits on the side of the shoulders and the red on the side skirts there. It's still missing some color apps, like the black on the top of the thigh and black on the back of the legs on the side skirts as well. So there's a couple things in there that I didn't paint, but this is basically just, again, just to give you guys a demonstration of some of the things that you can do. Obviously you could go in and do a lot more painting on this, like I said, on the inner frame and things like that. But I think it's fair to say that it definitely looks a lot better than just using the stickers. So that's going to just about wrap up this first episode of Gunpla Quick-Fix. I know this video was not all that quick. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to work on that more in the future. I just wanted to try to be as thorough as possible, I guess, and just show you guys a lot of the process. It's a really, really simple process of doing something like this. And again, there's ways that you can adapt doing some of these things to a painted kit or an unpainted kit or different areas. Just painting like this without thinning the enamel paint, you're definitely going to want to keep it in very small spaces like that. Any larger space, you're definitely going to want to thin or use a different kind of paint. I would recommend not using enamels to hand paint larger areas. And again, of course, if you can't find enamels, you can do this with other kinds of paint as well. You don't have to use enamel. You can do this with pretty much any kind of paint. Even, I don't know, even just like some cheap paint, whatever you can find around you can do stuff like this. So again, guys, this is not really the cleanest and like best detailing job I've ever done on anything, but this whole process really should only take you about an hour. It's a great way to just sort of get your feet wet into painting if you're not ready to maybe take the whole plunge to fully painting your kits yet. You just want to add like a little bit more detail, just make them look a lot nicer. This is a great way to do that. Another thing that I would recommend is then also after you've done this little detail painting on your kit, then just to spray it with some top coats, you know, either matte or glossy or semi-gloss, whatever you want to do, it's totally up to you. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do leave any other questions and comments down below. Let me know what you guys would like to see in future quick fix videos. I do have a lot of ideas already lined up. It's just a matter of getting to work on them. So please do be patient. I'll try to get them out as soon as I can. I'm going to at least go for at least once a month, but you know, I'll try to have them more than that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.